What is up, guys? We're back with another video today. We are currently in Tanner's closet right now. It was the quietest place I could find. So I went ahead and shut the window because I could hear them all talking out by the fire.
Two guys sitting in a hot tub 5 feet apart because they're not gay.
I wanted to explain all of my health problems and all of that to you guys because I know everyone's had a bunch of questions on Twitter because I've taken you guys on the journey. I went to the hospital recently in 2018, a procedure done March 22nd that failed, but I'll take you guys back to the beginning. So the beginning, it was weird because I just started playing football in 6th grade. I really wanted to play. Okay, 7th grade I had to go to the summer camp or whatever that you need to be in to play in middle school football. So I went all summer to strength and conditioning. I was able to do everything up until the very first week of practice. My right leg started hurting and it started swelling up. The first day we practiced with pads, I wasn't able to walk. So I was on crutches for that. So I've only got to play 1 year of football and it was in 6th grade, not even a middle school game. That week, my parents just said, oh, it's just a torn muscle, whatever. We went to the physical trainer and he examined my leg, did all the work that he needed to do, wrapped it up. He just said it was a torn muscle maybe, and my legs were just sore and give it a couple days. By the end of the week, my leg had swollen up twice the size of my left leg. They thought it was time for us to go to the hospital now. So we made it to the emergency room. We sat there for about 30 minutes in the waiting room. I didn't really know what to expect because I was 13 years old going into the hospital and I had no idea what was going on, what could be wrong. They had the Doppler machine and they looked in my veins and they couldn't see any blood flowing. They didn't tell me that. They took the scan of my leg and they didn't tell any of us anything while we were at the emergency room. This little short, probably 5-foot doctor came in. He said, we need to rush you to the hospital right now. I got loaded up in an ambulance, went to the hospital, and they told me I had a blood clot from here all the way down through here, and then it branched off to my right leg and went all the way to my knee. That was pretty scary to hear. They told me that it eventually made it all the way down to my ankle. So being 13 and hearing this news was pretty scary. So I wasn't sure what was going to happen. It kind of freaked me out. Like I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how long I was going to be in the hospital. Eventually, they were able to put a catheter in the back of my leg and break up the blood clot. And they said that the clot in my stomach area, which is from the bottom of my heart to my abdomen, is always going to be there because it is completely blocked in there. They said that the size of that vein is supposed to be about the size of your pinky, but they said it's the size of your fist. So if you can imagine a complete blood clot the size of your fist inside all the way down to your abdomen, that's what I have. After I got out of the hospital, it was about 2 weeks later, I had to go on a walker. I didn't go to school for a month afterwards. I had to have all my homework sent home to me. I remember my best friend, Patrick Wilhite. He came over to my house and he brought me a plate of brownies, him and his mom, and I went across the road on my walker. I wasn't able to carry the brownies back to my house, but I remember he was the first one I saw after I got out of the hospital. After that, I just went back to school. I didn't have any problems for a couple of years. Right after I got out of the hospital, I had to wear compression hose on my legs. It kind of looked like pantyhose, so people kind of made fun of me for that. As long as you believe in yourself and you don't let people talk down to you, you will live life to the fullest. You can't let anyone talk down to you for things you can't control, no matter what. I never let anyone talk down to me. Just brush it off. You'll be living a happy life. They will continue to try and find things to put you down. You will soar to the top and they will be stuck there talking shit. After I got out of the hospital, I had to do Lovenox shots in my stomach 2 times every day, one at 7 a.m. and one at 7 p.m. That would just help with the blood flow throughout my body so I wouldn't get any more clots. And with that medicine, I had to go into the doctor every 2 weeks, get my blood drawn from my arm to make sure that the medicine was at the right levels and I wasn't too thin or too thick, so I wasn't at the higher risk of bleeding or at a high risk of blood clots. So it has to be in the middle. It has to be at the perfect level so I won't get blood clots and I won't bleed too much. About a year ago, I was in the hospital again. This time it was a little different because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really know the symptoms. This time it wasn't scarier, but I knew what it was whenever we were driving to the hospital. It started out, I had lower back pain because I worked construction with my dad, so I thought I just threw my back out just at work. I went to the chiropractor, tried to get it fixed. I wasn't able to go to work the next day. That is when I knew that I had a blood clot, but I didn't want to believe it. So I decided it was time to go to the hospital. Whenever I got there, my leg it wasn't as swollen as it was before, but I knew that I had another blood clot forming. And it was in the opposite leg. It was in my left leg this time. The way that this hospital trip went was about the same as the last one, except for it was in the other side of my body. I was 19 years old whenever it happened. I was able to cope with what was happening. I wasn't as scared as I was whenever I was younger because I knew that if anything happened, that I was prepared. They didn't tell me this whenever I was in the hospital in 7th grade. They kind of blew it off. They didn't want to scare me. They told me about 2 years after I got out of the hospital that if the clot would have been in there for one more day, that they would have had to amputate my leg at the hip. So that was a pretty scary thought whenever, like, I'm glad they didn't tell me when I was in the hospital because it would have freaked me out even more. So anyways, went to the hospital in end of July, beginning of August last year. I was in there for about a week and a half. Once I got out of the hospital, I wasn't able to work for another month. And even when I went back to work, I had to wear the compression stocking again. I was only able to work half days because it felt like I was running a marathon every time I walked. I basically had to relearn how to walk multiple times, once in 7th grade and once a year ago, because I was in a hospital bed for so long. This is something that I'm actually proud of. Every time after laying in the hospital bed for over a week, both times, I remember vividly the lady walking with me, and she's like, okay, we can turn around, that's enough walking for today. I told her no, I was making it all the way to the end of the hallway or around the corner or anything. I always pushed myself because I knew that if I didn't push myself that I was going to be there even longer and it was just going to cause me more pain and everything. So if you're going through something right now, just push through it. I know I had the strength to do it, and I know you have the strength to do it as well. After I got out the second time, I had to get a new doctor because I had a pediatric doctor. After I was out of the hospital the first time, I was on the shots twice a day, like I said before. But then after a year of being on those, I was able to get on the pill called warfarin. I had to get my blood drawn once a month. It was only 1 needle a month, but still, I didn't have to give myself injections every day, twice a day. But then after I got out of the hospital the second time, I had to start those injections again because the way that that medicine works is it's easier to regulate and it's easy to take. If you just stop taking it, it stops working right then. So I had to start taking the shots again after getting out the second time. I just hated doing them. It made my stomach feel like I was a lizard, like the tough skin, and there was bruises everywhere. Like, that's why I never took pictures with my shirt off. They bothered me at first, but they stopped to bother me. But on a good note, I am completely off the injections now. I am taking a new medicine to where I don't even have to go in and get my blood tested. Take the medicine twice a day and I know it works. And I will never stop taking that medicine because I don't want to go through another hospital visit again. And I know my family doesn't want to go through this. And if any of my family is watching this, know that I love you and I will never have to put you guys through that ever again. I'm glad I did this video. I know it wasn't the most enthusiastic video. I've had a bunch of questions asked in the past. I could talk about this for an hour. I could make an hour-long vlog of this. I feel like this is just a short summary. I just wanted to do this for you guys, make sure that everyone's up to date on me. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more videos, just click that red button below. Thank you.